my mama's on it. No smoke, but we die about that money. No smoke, you niggas don't want it. I heard these niggas won't smoke.
Control, this is Agent Ogren. I need a request to open up cell 311.
Free Me Podcast.
So I heard the hot topic, man, is about being raped in prison. You know, and I see a lot of these shows, they put this type of content on their channels, and it gets a lot of views, man. For whatever reason, people are interested about people getting raped in prison. So I don't condone it. I've never been part of it, never seen it, really. So I have heard of these stories. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like that demon in the air. You know it's there, right? But you don't ever see it. You know what I mean? But you know that monster's there. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is how not to get involved in these things and put yourselves in circumstances that may result in you getting stabbed, raped, beat, things of that nature. So first and foremost, can you get raped in prison? Do rapes occur? Yes, just like here in real life, outside of prison, rapes do occur, believe it or not. And how these things occur is not so much as maybe out here in the free world where, you know, you just get pulled into a car or, you know, things of that nature. But it's sort of similar. I mean, it's all kind of similar. You know, I'm a firm believer that we are big proponents on bringing a lot of the chaos into our lives that we bring. And I'm going to give a few examples of how that occurs. So first and foremost, you do not get into debt with anybody in prison. That's rule number one. If you've been established in a prison long enough and you've established yourself as a good solid dude, you know, and you're pretty well known on the compound, then yeah, you know, you run tabs with certain people, things like that. But by that time, you've already been known as a person, as a solid dude, you know, so a solid dude pays his debts no matter what, and he follows his word. If you go to the store, man, you tell the store man, you know, my next commissary, I got you, he's going to take you for that word, and no matter what, you have to go to the commissary and get that for this dude, you know. So these are things that you have to, you know, be aware of and make sure that when you tell somebody that you're going to do something, that you make sure at all costs that you get it done. So you don't go into debt with anybody. You just don't go on a compound and you're going to have people that's going to come to you right away. They're going to offer you cigarettes. They're going to offer you booze. They're going to offer you weed. They're going to tell you how they're, you know, hey, man, you know, listen, I went through what you went through, and I know that, you know, you're down and you need a friend. So, you know, I'm here for you. You know, if you want some weed or something to ease your mind, let me know, you know, and I got you. I'll hook you up. And sure enough, the kid or whoever is probably going to be, you know, a weed smoker, and that's the first thing he's going to do. You know what, man, I can really use a joint. Man, I got you, man. Let me go get this joint, and I'll bring it back to you. And before you know it, he's done given you 3 or 4 or 5 joints without ever even really saying anything. You see what I'm saying? You don't take the weed or whatever without paying for it at that moment, no matter how bad you want it, because it's a setup. That's all it is. This dude that's in your cell, he don't care about you first coming into prison. He don't give a shit about none of that. All he gives a shit about is getting his rocks off. And these are all traps that these type of people set out. You know, you have predators in there like you have predators out here, and they learn how to work the system in there like predators learn how to work the system out here. The bottom line is a predator is going to figure out how to eat. That's it. It doesn't matter what the environment is. A predator is going to learn how to eat. So these are the traps that predators set out. They come in, again, these are master manipulators. They come in and they seem like they're the best people in the world, and they seem like, you know, they're friendly or whatnot. You're new on the compound. Nobody trusts you. Nobody knows who you are, so nobody's going to come up to you and just give you some friendly advice like, hey, this dude is a stalker or whatever, you know? This guy's a fucking weirdo. Nobody's going to let you know that. First and foremost, the stalker on the compound's probably got more stripes than you do, because he's been on the compound and he's well known, and he probably conducts business with people in the compound. He just does his little thing, you know, and that's it. So you're the duck. You're the new person on the compound, you know. So you're completely ignorant to everything that's going on around you, and you can be easily manipulated because you're in a position where you need a friend, you know. So these are red flags that you have to be aware of. Don't be so keen to make friends with somebody because you're scared and you know, you want to try to just make friends to earn a little bit of stripes in the compound. That's not how it works, and you'll be easily used and abused. You know, again, these are red flags. So you don't go into debt with anybody. You don't owe anybody any money, and if you do, you make sure you pay it as soon as you can. Rule number 2, do not gamble. Rule number 2 falls in line with rule number 1. You know, again, if you're going to gamble, first and foremost, make sure that your money's on the wood. What that means is that you bring your money with you, and it's payable upon losing your hands. First and foremost, you don't run a checklist with nobody. You don't do anything like that. 2 reasons. When you're losing cash out of your hand, you're more apt to stop gambling when the cash is gone. When you're running a tab with somebody and you're just betting, right, on word, right, betting on air, that tab can grow very, very, very quickly, very quickly. And when you're in an emotional state as far as gambling and you're on a losing run and you keep telling yourself, you know, nah, man, I got to get this back, I got to get this back, you can easily go over your budget and you can easily fall into debt with somebody. And trust me, that person that won all that money does not want to hear, oh man, you know, I bet too much. He don't want to hear none of that. So again, that falls into rule number 1 about going into debt. Do not gamble, especially if you know you're not a strong gambler. Rule number 3. Rule number 3 is you do not get intoxicated. And that means on anything, right? That means on anything. You do not get intoxicated. People, to each of their own. People do what they do, you know, to alleviate their stresses and do their time. You have to do it just like out here. You have to do it responsibly. You have to do it in a safe environment. And you have to do it, you know, knowing that, yeah, you're in a dangerous spot. So again, these rules that I'm giving you are the same rules that are applicable out here in life. It's the same thing. The rules of life don't change. You're still dealing with human nature. You're still dealing with animals. You know, and I don't mean that in a bad sense. I'm just saying animals in the sense that you're dealing with people who are overtly emotional and just react to everything around them according to their emotions. And this is what animals do. You do not get intoxicated. And what that means is, again, putting yourself in situations where things can easily get out of control. You can be overpowered, and you don't know who you have around you. For instance, we have holiday parties all the time, you know, for holidays. And you know, on federal holidays, for my experience in the federal institutions, you know, the institution kind of shuts down and everything is pretty much relaxed. And, you know, we kick back and we just enjoy these days as much as we can. And we'll hang out. And if there's a movie on TV, we'll plan for the movie. We'll cook. We'll go outside, play softball, hang out by the softball field, you know, with your little crew, you know, that you bid with. And that's okay. You know, we used to sit out on the bleachers and just drink hooch and watch softball and play softball, things of that nature, and that's okay, right? When things start to get dangerous is when you don't have a crew and you're still trying to really kind of form a crew. And you were an alcoholic on the street, you know, you were used to partying and getting drunk and things of that nature. And you go in there with that same mentality. And the first chance you get invited to come to a cell, to a little cell party, man. There's going to be just, 4 or 5 dudes in there. We're just going to be kicking it, kicking the bobo, as they would say. And we're just going to be hanging out. We're going to be drinking and whatnot and such. So, you buy a little hooch or however the scenario plays out. But the bottom line is that you don't really know who these people are, what their MO is, what they're about. Your only thought is just hanging out with a bunch of cool dudes and getting fucked up. Again, but it's a trap, you see? It's a trap the whole time. These dudes are maybe booty bandits, as you see on these other channels that glamorously title their episodes, these phrases. They may be booty bandits, and it may be a clique of them, and this may be their MO, and that's what they do is lure young, innocent first-timers into cells and get them intoxicated. They'll get them with K2, or they'll, give them alcohol and until the point that they pass out. And when you have 4 or 5 dudes in a cell and you're intoxicated, even if you're not intoxicated, it's going to be hard to handle 4 or 5 dudes in a cell. So, one, I would never even be in a cell. I wouldn't even care if I knew everybody. I never really went into other people's cells to begin with. If I did, it was in there for a private conversation, something of that nature. But never would I ever just go into people's cells really and just hang out for hours at a time, unless I was in another person's unit. That would be the only reason. If I was in somebody else's unit, I would be in their cell hanging out because we weren't allowed to be in other people's units. So, again, it's just knowing your situation, knowing who is around you, and understanding everybody has an agenda and an MO, and just trying the best to figure out and understand what each individual agenda is. When it comes to that, again, some of the red flags to let you know that you're being set up in a trap is just overt niceness. People, again, because you're new, nobody knows you. Nobody is just going to come in and want to be your friend in prison. One, you haven't even established who you are, what you're in prison for, anything of that nature. So when you have somebody that's coming up, being overtly nice to you, wanting to help you, show you around the compound, converse with you, things of that nature, 9.9 times out of 10, it's an agenda. It's an MO, it's an agenda of this person of some sort. You're not to say nothing to him. You're not to say, hey, whatever, because it could be a good, solid dude that's just looking out for dudes that are coming in. There are cats that are like that because that we know that there's predators out there. So if a good, solid-looking person comes in, we'll step up and right out of the gate and look out for these people. So it's up to you just to make that determination. How you can make that determination, again, is the person that's sincere and honest isn't going to be offering you drugs and booze and things of that nature. He may be explaining to you how to get those things, and he's going to be giving you red flags. He's going to be telling you really the same thing that I'm telling you, Then you can kind of gauge that this person may just be an honest and sincere person. So if they're offering you drugs, alcohol, gambling, anything of that nature, anything to do with money, drugs, alcohol, or gangs, then there's an agenda. So these are some of the red flags that you can be aware of. So the next rule, right, after do not get intoxicated, is do not bolster yourself. Don't go into prison, even if you're a tank. You could be a tank, right? Doesn't matter. don't go into prison bolstering yourself to be some sort of killer, some sort of tough guy, some sort of anything of that nature. But my point is that coming in and trying to portray that you're some sort of tough guy or some sort of badass because you gave that a good image on the street and a lot of people around you at that time may have bought that, they're not going to buy that in any prison that you go to. And matter of fact, when you go in there with that attitude, you're going to have people that are going to want to test you. You have people in there that just love the competition of fighting. They don't care if they lose or not. You know, it's just, to them, it's just excitement and adrenaline to get into a cell with somebody. So you're going to be tested. That's not the approach to go into prison. And again, when you get knocked out, a lot of bad things happen. That's when things happen. It's like vultures, right? It's like when two lions fight and you have all these vultures sitting around just waiting for the victor to kill the opponent, you know, and then the vultures are gonna set in. So that's it, man. These are some cues, man, to really just be red flagged and to avoid when you first get into prison, man. Don't go in and want to get on the poker table. Don't go in and want to get involved in drugs and alcohol. Don't go in and think that you're a badass and can knock everybody out. Don't go in and get depressed and get into debt with the store man and things of that nature. All of these are going to be offered to you. It's going to be readily available for you as soon as you walk through the gate. It's you that has to be able to tell these people, no, I'm good, you know, and just get your own commissary, do what it is that you have to do, and just know who you have around you and know what their agenda is. As long as you follow these steps and gradually work your way into each institution that you go to, you'll be okay. And I promise you, my word, everything will be okay. As long as you're a stand-up individual, you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal, you're not a child molester, you're not a guy that beat on his women and rapes women and hurts old people and children, things of that nature. As long as as long as you don't have crimes of that nature, you know, you're not a dirty cop, you know, you're not a rat, of course, things of that nature. As long as you're not any of those, you won't have no issues. Any issues that you have in prison is going to be brought on to you by yourself. You're going to create your own issues, and these are the ways that you create them. So pay attention, man. Keep your head up. Know who's around you. Don't get caught up in any of the foolishness. There's foolishness around you at all times. People doing foolish things around you at all times. Don't be curious. Don't be a gawker, you know. Don't be the one to sit there and watch what's going on. Just do what you got to do. Keep your head down, your eyes in front of you, and just stay alert to everything that's going on around you, man. And these are some of the things that we do day in and day out. You have to. Because, yeah, there's sharks out there. And it's not like in the free world where they have room to roam. And you can go to the beach and swim out of the beach and not really have no concern of being bitten by a shark. But when you're in a shark tank and it's just a small tank and all of these sharks are just in this tank, there's a little bit more concern of you putting your feet into that water. So you have to have the same concern and you have to look at it like that. So until then, man, if this is you and you're on your way and you're sitting here watching the screen like, man, what the fuck did I get myself into? Man, it's going to be okay. Just be the same man you was when you caught that charge. Go in and just do better and hit books and stay around good, positive people. They're all in there. You just have to find them. There's cliques of them in there. Go to the law library and start sitting with some of the old cats in the law library. Just find out the safe spots, the safe cliques, the safe people, the people that have head on their shoulders that are trying to reform and change their lives, and just start getting around those individuals, and then you do the same. And I promise you'll come out a better man. So until the next time, man, this is Free Me TV, man. We out. Peace and love, everybody. Stay safe, stay blessed, and be your best self, man.